Welcome to the annual council meeting. Before the meeting starts, I'd like to invite the committee member and scrutiny manager to update you on the systems being used and to confirm that the officers in remote attendance are present. Thank you, Will.
Thank you very much. I'll start with a roll call of the officers attending remotely. Do we have Anthony Roche?
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Thank you. And is there anyone else? No. Wonderful. This meeting is being audio recorded and filmed and live streamed to the council's YouTube channel. The recordings will be available to view on the council's website and YouTube channels after the meeting has ended. If a member wishes to speak, they should use the speak button located on the microphone unit on your desks. The microphone will light up green and the chair will be alerted to your request to speak. When the chair invites you to speak, your microphone will be made live and will turn red, at which point you can speak. Normal procedure rules in respect of debate and times to speak will apply. When requested to vote, voting will be via the yes, no, abstain buttons on your microphone unit, unless we give you specific instructions otherwise. Details of how members voted will be shown on the screens around the room, and the results will be visible on the YouTube stream. In the event of a tied vote, the chair will have the casting vote. Are there any questions before we start? Thank you very much. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Item 1, election of a chair of the council for the civic year 2022-2023. Can I invite nominations to chair of the council for the civic year 2022-2023, please? Councillor Brown.
I'd like to propose Councillor Sam North.
Thank you. A seconder. Councillor Dennis Harburg.
Yep, happy to second, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for chair? Shall we move to the vote?
In any case. Thank you, Chair. That motion is carried.
Thank you. Can I invite Councillor North to come and be chair of the council?
I, Samuel North, having been elected to the office of Chair for the District of North Hertfordshire, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Code of Conduct, which for the time being applies to me as a councillor of North Hertfordshire District Council. And I will sign that. Today is the 26th of May, 2022. Thank you. Thank you, councillors, for putting your faith into me. I would like to advise everyone that my consort for the following this year will be Councillor Rajini Baka. Surprisingly. I would like to personally thank Councillor Val Bryant And I would like to propose that the council places on record its sincere thanks and appreciation to Councillor Val Bryant for her services as chair of the council during the past year, and also to her consort, Dr. Stuart Bryant, for their help and support during their term of office. Can I please have a seconder? Councillor Dennis Harberg.
Yeah, very happy to second that, Chair.
Does everyone agree? I will take that as your assent. Just wait 1 minute. We may have a little surprise. Val, come back onto the stage. I'll hand you the clock first. So that's a present. I've just got all my fingerprints all over. So. Very sorry about that.
Thank you.
And here are. I picked them myself.
Thank you. I'm going to have to.
Take one.
I need my copies as well.
So after all that excitement, we will move on to agenda item 2, apologies for absence. I have received apologies for absence from councillors Claire Billing and Sean Nolan. Are there any other apologies? Councillor Strong.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to say that Councillor Adam Compton will be arriving late. He's just taking his Ukrainian refugees to get her biometrics or something. And also, I believe Councillor David Barnard is absent tonight as well.
Okay, thank you. Is that noted? Perfect. Agenda item 3, election of a vice chair of the council for the civic year 2022 to 2023. I would like to invite nominations for the vice chair of the council for the civic year 22-2023. Councillor Dennis Harberg.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to nominate Councillor Daniel Allen.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Brown.
Thank you. I would like to second that nomination.
Councillor Strong, you wish to speak?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Councillor Simon Bloxham for vice chair.
And do we have a seconder? Councillor Derbyshire.
I second that and reserve my right to speak.
Perfect. So what we will do is we will speak on the proposal made by Councillor Strong first. Do we have any debate? Councillor Strong?
I'd just like to put a few comments on record. I did propose Councillor Bloxham last year to be vice chair of the council. The reasons for doing that he has been a councillor here at North Herts before, and he's also, if you look at the boards, will notice that his father was a councillor and has been chairman, and it would be very nice to see it running in the family if this council did accept that he should be the vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the proposal made by Councillor Strong? No, we will move to the proposal made by Councillor Dennis Harberg. Is there any other comments wishing to be made on that? No, we will then move swiftly on to the vote. William, will you take us through the vote, please?
Sure. Voting will take place in the following way. We'll take each candidate in turn. When indicated, please use the yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Daniel Allen becoming vice chair of the council. After the conclusion of that vote, you will be asked to use the yes button to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Simon Bloxham becoming vice chair of the council. You must only select a yes vote once. We will now move to the vote. Please use the yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Daniel Allen becoming vice chair of the council. Okay, Now, please use the yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Simon Bloxham becoming Vice Chair of the Council. Happy? And with 27 votes to 18, Councillor Daniel Allen is duly elected as Vice Chair of the Council.
Thank you, everybody. It's my declaration of acceptance of office. I, Daniel Allen, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair for the District of North Hertfordshire, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Code of Conduct, which for the time being applies to me as a councillor of North Hertfordshire District Council. I would like to announce my consort for the forthcoming year, which will be Councillor Amy Allen.
Thank you very much, Councillor Allen, and welcome to the Chair's table. Again, I wish to express my sincere thanks for the time that Councillor Terry Tyler has spent in the role of Vice Chair as well. And welcome to you, Daniel. We move on to agenda item 4, minutes from the 23rd of March 2022. I would like to propose that we take as read and approve as a true record the minutes of the meeting of Council held on the 23rd of March 2022. For the purposes of clarification, as the question is sometimes raised, the minutes of the previous meeting can be moved and seconded by members who were not present at that meeting, although it is preferable that those who were not present should abstain from voting and commenting on the motion. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dennis Harberg.
Yep, happy to second, Chair.
Are there any comments? No, in that case, let's move to the vote. Will, can you?
I can't see the results. Thank you, Chair. That motion's carried.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 5, Chair's announcements. Strap in, this is going to be a fun one. Audio recording. In accordance with Council policy, this meeting is being audio recorded as well as filmed. The audio recordings will be available to view on ModGov and the film recording via the NHDC YouTube channel. Climate emergency. Members are reminded that this council has declared a climate emergency. This is a serious decision and means that, as this is an emergency, all of us, officers and members, have that in mind as we carry out our various roles and tasks for the benefit of our district. Declarations of interest. Members are reminded to make declarations of interest before an item. The detailed reminder of this and speaking rights is set out under Chair's announcement on the agenda. New members. I would like to welcome and congratulate the following new members to the District Council following their successful election on the 5th of May 2022. Councillor James Denslow, Councillor Christopher Hinchliffe, Councillor Christopher Lucas, Councillor Ralph Munzer, Councillor Lisa Nash, Councillor Sean Nolan, Councillor Thomas Plater, Councillor Tamsin Thomas, Councillor Philip Weeder, and Councillor Alistair Willoughby. Re-elected members, I would like to congratulate the following who were successfully re-elected at the District Council elections. Councillor Daniel Allen, Councillor Claire Billing, Councillor Ruth Brown, Councillor Val Bryant, Councillor Sam Collins, Councillor Adam Compton, Councillor Faye Frost, and Councillor Ian Moody. Those who are no longer members. I would also like to thank former councillors Kate Aspinwall, Gary Grindle, Simon Harwood, Mike Hewson, Jim McNally, and Mike Rice, who did not stand for re-election. And finally, thanks to the former councillors John Bishop and Sarah Dingley, who were unsuccessful in being re-elected. I wish good luck and wishes to all those former councillors. Register of interest. Can I remind members to complete their registers of interest forms online? This will need to be completed on your laptops or a computer through Citrix and must be completed by the 3rd of June 2022. If you have any issues accessing the form, please contact Committee Services team. Rules of debate. Please can I remind you that the normal procedure rules in respect of debate and times to speak will apply. No speeches may be made after the mover has moved a proposal and explained the purpose of it until the motion has been seconded. When seconding a motion or amendment, a member may reserve their speech until later in the debate. You may only speak once on a motion and once on any amendment. Should you choose to reserve your right to speak, please inform me you are doing so when seconding. In accordance with the Constitution, please can members ensure that no speech exceeds 5 minutes without my consent. Warding arrangements. In the members' room on floor 1, next door, you will find 3 large-scale maps of Letchworth, Hitching and Royston. Next to each map is an A3 map showing the current wards for information only. To assist the council's submission to the Boundary Commission, please visit the members' room and mark on the map any natural community boundaries or locations by noon Wednesday the 1st of June. Additional comments can be added to the flip charts or sent to the Boundary Review inbox. As a reminder, a members' briefing has been scheduled on the 16th of June at 7:30 in the afternoon, where you will be provided with an important update on the current electoral review. This review, led by the Local Government Boundary Commission for England, is in the process of determining electoral arrangements for North Herts Council that will take effect from the elections in May 2024. The briefing will be led by the consultant Richard Beasley, who is assisting the council with this work. I would like to take the opportunity to announce that I will be nominating 2 charities this year to be my selected charities. They will be Hearts Welcomes Refugees and Together for Short Lives as my chosen charities. I will now call upon Councillor Bryant, who I understand has a further announcement she wishes to make.
Thank you, Sam. I'd just like to announce that we've bought flowers for Penny Capestoke, who's the actually Jeanette's PA, but has been looking after me for 2 years. Those of you at the fundraiser on Sunday will have met Penny for the first time, as I did for the first time. Up to now, we've actually been talking through Zoom or on the phone, but she's looked after me very, very well, and I'm sure she'll look after you just equally as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bryant. Moving on to agenda item 6, District Council election results, including all polls on the 5th of May 2022. I would like to invite the Democratic Services Manager, Melanie Stimpson, to present the report. Melanie.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is the usual reporting of all the election results, which includes all polls that took place on the 5th of May.
Is there any debate? No, then I will ask for members to note the report, please, and we will go to the vote on noting the report.
Thank you, Chair. That motion's carried.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 7, appointment of the Deputy Leader of the Council, members of the Cabinet and Deputy Executive members for 2022-2023. Before I invite the leader to present the report, for the purposes of clarification, we are not electing a leader of the council at this meeting, as Councillor Dennis Harberg was elected the leader of council at the last annual council meeting for a 4-year term. So I would like to invite Councillor Dennis Harberg, leader of the council, to present the report.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll start off with the business of the deputy leader appointment. This year, I would like to appoint Councillor Ruth Brown as my deputy, and we will be continuing to work together in a joint administration. Colleagues will note the full breakdown of the cabinet members and their deputies in Appendix A, so I don't propose to read through all of those names here in the interest of brevity, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dennis Harberg. The recommendations in the report are therefore to be noted. Can we go to the vote, please? Oh, apologies. I haven't got a seconder. First day on the job. Councillor Brown.
Yes, I'd like to second that proposal, and I'd also like to add an amendment to the Appendix A to propose Councillor Sam North as Deputy Cabinet Member for Finance and IT.
Just technically, it's a matter for the leader to do. So all you're doing today is just noting, so we'll leave that to the leader to,
okay.
But if you're announcing that that's your intention, then that's fine.
I think in that case, we will leave that for a later date, if that's okay with you, Councillor Brown. Councillor Harberg, did you want to come back on that?
I'm happy to propose if Councillor North is content to continue in that position.
That is fine by me. So we will therefore, as it's been seconded, go to the vote, please, William.
Thank you, Chair. That motion's carried.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 8, appointment of members of committees, joint committees and panels for 2022-2023. Can I invite the leader of the council to move the appointment of members of committees, joint committees and panels for 2022 to 2023?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy to move this appendix. However, I believe that there might be some potential debate and discussion on some of these appointments. I think, are there? Oh, no, I'm thinking about the outside bodies potentially. However, I think that my deputy leader might need to make some changes to some of her nominations.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to make an amendment to the Planning Committee nominations to remove Rajini Bakar from that committee. I would like to make an amendment to the Standards Committee to make Councillor Sean Prendergast a full member and not a sub. And I would like to add myself, Councillor Ruth Brown, as a sub on the Cabinet panel on the environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brown. Just for the clarification within the document, Councillor Dennis Harburg, would you like to say a few words on the situation with the community and place panels?
Yes, Chair, I'd like to clarify on those. So the Environment Panel, as members know, has been running very successfully over a number of years. However, on review, the Joint Administration has felt that perhaps those two other Cabinet panels could be more useful to us and to our communities if we reframed their terms of reference. So for the time being, we will not be making appointments to those panels as they will not be proceeding in their current format. However, we will be drafting new terms of reference to cover off topic areas that are going to deliver real benefit. And once that is done, we will put out notice so that group leaders can nominate members to sit on those Cabinet panels.
Thank you very much. The motion has been proposed and seconded. Do we have any debate? No. Unless there are any objections, I intend to take the recommendations on block. So, Will, can we please go to the vote?
Who? Thank you, Chair. That motion is carried.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 9, appointment of chairs and vice chairs of committees for 2022 to 2023. Can I again invite the leader of the council to move the appointments of chairs and vice chairs of committees for 2022-2023?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy to move the Appendix A to agenda item 9, and we'll wait for any issues to arise.
Thank you very much. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Brown?
I'm happy to second that proposal.
Thank you very much. Is there any debate on this item? No. So the recommendations are set out in the report, and we will again go for the vote, please. William?
Thank you, Chair. That motion is carried.
Thank you very much. We will now adjourn to allow the meetings of each area committee to convene to elect the chairs and vice chairs for the civic year. Please remain seated, stay calm, and take part when the respective area committee to which you are a member is considered. Firstly, we will start with Bulldog and District Committee.
Yep. Okay. So just as a reminder, this is for members of the Bulldog and District Committee only, which are Councillors Willoughby, Cowell, Muir, Weeks, Jarvis and Tyson. First item of business, are there any apologies for absence? I think you're all present. Second item, election of a chair for the civic year 2022-23. Can I ask for nominations for chair of the Bulldog and District Committee for the civic year 2022-23? Councillor Tyson?
Yeah, I'd like to propose Steve Jarvis.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that nomination?
Yes, I'd like to second Steve Jarvis.
Thank you, Councillor Willoughby. Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Councillor Michael Muir.
Thank you, Councillor Weeks. And can I have a seconder for that nomination?
I'll second that nomination.
Thank you, Councillor Cowell. So we will vote on this in the same manner that we did for our vice chair appointment. I will ask you to raise your hand rather than using the electronic voting system. I will begin with the first nomination received. So Councillor Jarvis, all members in favour of Councillor Jarvis becoming chair of the Bulldog Committee, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. Just write that down. Just in case I forget. And all those in favour of Councillor Muir. Thank you very much. Jeanette, we have an equality of votes.
We'll adjourn the appointment of a chair and vice chair until your next area committee meeting, where it will be a standing item until you have appointed a chair and vice chair. At the actual meeting, the alternative would be for each meeting, you'll appoint a chair on a temporary basis for the purposes of that meeting. That's not the case. Thank you.
So thank you very much. The meeting of the Bulldog and District Committee is adjourned. Okay, I will now move on to the Hitching Committee. This is members of the Hitching Committee, so Councillors Lucas, Claire Billing, Dennis Harburg, Albert, Denslow, Judy Billing, Tart, Hoskins, Mason, Bacar, Thake, Collins and Bryant. Are there any apologies for absence for Hitching members? Claire Billing. Okay, can I ask for nominations for chair of the Hitching Committee for the civic year 2022 to 23? Councillor Billing.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Albert.
Thank you very much. Can I have a seconder for that nomination? Okay, are there any other nominations? No, thank you very much. Do we need to take a vote on that? Yes. All members voting in favour of that motion, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. That motion is carried. Councillor Albert. Councillor Albert, would you like to call for nominations for your vice chair?
Yes. Could I have a nomination for vice chair of the committee?
Yep. Happy to nominate Councillor Hoskins, Claire Billing.
Not. Can we move to votes on that? Those in favour, please raise your hands.
Thank you, Chair. That vote's carried.
Thank you.
Cool.
What time did that start? Okay, moving on to the Letchworth Committee. So Councillors Rogero Chaka, Amy Allen, Daniel Allen, Councillor Levitt, Mantle, Derbyshire, Weeder, Nolan, Prendergast, Bloxham, Thomas, Hone and Plato. Any apologies for absence amongst Letchworth? Sean. Thank you very much. Can I ask for nominations for chair of the Letchworth Committee for the civic year 2022?
Nominate Councillor Daniel Allen.
Okay, can I have a seconder for that? Are there any other nominations?
Yes, please. I'd like to nominate Councillor Derbyshire.
Can I have a seconder for that nomination? David Levitt. Thank you. So voting on this will be in the same procedure. I will ask all members voting in favour of Daniel Allen to raise their hands first, and then move on to all members in favour of Councillor Derbyshire. All members voting in favour of Councillor Daniel Allen, please raise your hands. And all members voting in favour of Councillor Derbyshire, please raise your hands. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. That motion is carried, and Councillor Daniel Allen is duly elected as chair of the Letchworth Committee. Councillor Allen, would you like to call for nominations of vice chair?
Can I call for nominations for vice chair? I would like to nominate Sean Prendergast as Vice Chair. Do we have a seconder? Can we go to the vote on Sean as the Vice Chair? Are there any others? My apologies. Can we go to the vote?
Okay, concludes business of the Letchworth Committee. Moving on to Royston and District Committee. This is for members of the Royston and District Committee only, so councillors Compton, Stanier, Hinchliffe, Morris, Green, Brown and Hunter. Are there any apologies from Royston councillors? None. Thank you very much. Can I ask for nominations for chair of the Royston and District Committee for the civic year 2022 to 23?
Can I nominate Councillor Tony Hunter, please?
Thank you. And can I have a seconder for that nomination? Councillor Compton. Are there any other nominations? No, thank you very much. Can we go to the vote? Yeah, that motion's carried. Councillor Tony Hunter is duly elected as chair of the Royston Committee. Would you like to call for vice chair nominations?
Yes. I will propose from the chair, Gerald Morris. To be carried. Thank you.
And for members of the Southern Rural Committee, so councillors Strong, Barnard, Frost, Davies, Moody, Nash, Tandy, Munster, North and Tyler. Any apologies for absence for Southern Rural members? David Barnard. Can I ask for nominations for chair of the Southern Rural Committee for the civic year 2022 to 23?
Yes, I'd like to propose George Davis.
Can I have a seconder for that nomination?
I would like to second.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No. Councillor Davies, you're duly elected. Would you like to nominations for your vice chair?
Yes, may I have nominations for vice chair of Southern Rural?
If you're not going to propose, I'll propose Councillor Mandy Tandy.
And I shall second Amanda Tandy.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tandy. You are duly elected vice chair.
With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. So I now call the meeting of the full council back into order. And we shall swiftly move on to agenda item 11. I've got to get a thesaurus, so I don't keep saying swiftly. Agenda item 11 is key decisions, annual report on cases of special urgency. Can I invite the leader of the council to present the report and move the recommendations?
Absolutely, Chair. Thank you very much. So I will start by reminding members that the recommendation is simply that we note this report. Now, there's only been one decision of special urgency taken this last civic year, and that, as we will all be aware, is in respect of a grant application and funding that was advanced in respect of Key Stage's decision to run a facility at the Lord Lister Hotel in Hitchin. I think the details of this are widely known to members. If you're not familiar with them, please take a look on the council's website, and of course social media for other views and commentary is available. I will also remind members that there is a regulatory process ongoing at the moment in the form of the 2 planning applications that Key Stage has submitted to this authority. So we must be careful with what we say and what we do, and ensure that we don't prejudice or predetermine that particular planning process. The information in the report, I'm not proposing to go through it in detail. I think that everybody will have read this and will be familiar with the facts, as I've said earlier. However, having worked through things and considered and reflected over a number of months on this particular decision and the process which we followed in arriving at it, I think potentially it might be time that this council looked at the process by which this type of decision is made. And I think that my guidance instead to perhaps the chair of overview and scrutiny, should he wish to take this up as an item, would be as part of any review or potential task and finish group around the way this authority takes urgent decisions, maybe ensure that we are engaging in meaningful and positive community engagement where it is appropriate, and that members are empowered to raise questions and queries, even when timescales are quote unquote particularly short. So I will leave things there, I think, Chair, and hand over to the future Chair of Scrutiny for this year, whoever they happen to be, when that relevant vote is passed this evening, to consider all of the options so that the lessons that fall out from this special urgency decision, and potentially others that this authority has taken in the past as well, can be learned and implemented effectively. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dennis Harburg. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brown?
Happy to second that, reserve my right to speak.
Thank you very much. And is there any debate? Councillor Strong.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, I'm very pleased to actually tell the Leader of the Council that we actually earlier this evening did vote for a Chair of the Scrutiny Committee, which is Councillor David Levitt. So I am sure that he has listened to the comments you made. I know that this is a report that we are only noting, and I know that from your comments that you feel that this should be an item that goes to overview and scrutiny to look at. And I would also agree that I think this is an item that we need to look at the process that this emergency decision was taken. I'm not asking that we go for in overview and scrutiny that we go and look at how we make those decisions, but I think we actually need to go and look at how this decision was made. We also need to go and look at because this is the first time that councillors have actually seen this decision and had the opportunity to make any comment on it. And it has become, I think, as we all know, an item that has had a lot of attention by the public. So I think in the openness and transparency, it needs to go to scrutiny so that the Scrutiny Committee can have a look at how that process was followed for this, do a lessons learned, do a drains up maybe as well, and then actually ask, when they look at that, to see some of the documentation as well around, and actually know whether or not the award of the grant that we made and the legal communications that we had with the provider of that service, whether or not they are meeting those requirements that are in the documentation as well. As she has mentioned, the Leaders of Accounts has mentioned, there is a pending planning or 2 planning applications. So I don't think it's right that we should be trying to debate this tonight. But I think that it is that when we note this report, that I think that the Chair of Scrutiny will also be noting that at the first opportunity of the first meeting of the overview and scrutiny, that there is an item on his agenda that actually addresses, because certainly it has had such a large amount of public interest on it. I think many councillors in this chamber have had emails. When I've been at Hitching surgery for 3 times that I was there in February, March and April, there was a lot of members of the public that wish to come and talk about this. So therefore, I think there is absolutely the need that this goes and is looked at. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Strong. Councillor Levitt.
Thank you, Chair. I take on board the comments of the chairman of the leader of the council and Councillor Strong as well. This was something I'd already been looking into as a possibility for overview and scrutiny to examine. There is an opportunity under the Constitution to do so under 6.3.9 members giving of account to look at both the process and the way the decision was made and the methods that was to reach that. I note the comments on the planning, and actually it's not within overview and scrutiny's remit. It cannot look at planning decisions or licensing decisions because of the legal status of those. So we will have to ignore those anyway, that part anyway. So I'm happy to do that and bring it forward to overview and scrutiny at the first opportunity and report back to council on the results of any report we may make from that committee.
Thank you very much, Councillor Levitt. Councillor Thake.
I'm clearly grateful to Councillor Strong for raising this issue. I'm going to confine myself to a very, very, very succinct comment. I just hope this is not a case of stable doors, horses and bolting. I don't think there's anything else I can say at this stage that would not push me into a position of trying to predetermine the scrutiny outcome and the planning situation. So I will cease now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Thake. Councillor Albert.
Thanks, Chair. I mean, a couple of quick points. I support lots of what both Councillor Dennis Harburg and what Councillor Strong have set out this evening. I think it's important that these discussions take place. I think transparency is an important thing, and I think we agreed, and I think cross-party agreed, as we did when looking at the North Herts Museum and Town Hall project. We agreed a working group and a review after the event, and I think that's may well be appropriate here as well. Maybe something similar. That's clearly something that Councillor Levitt and his scrutiny colleagues can take forward. I mean, the one issue I would say is, and apologies, Councillor Strong, if I misunderstood what you said, but that this isn't the first opportunity for councillors to have seen this. The Councillor Levitt himself was actually consulted about this as a decision of urgency. At least it says so in the paper here, and indeed every councillor will have seen and read about the two decisions that were mentioned in relation to funding, both in August and in January, and that was available to every councillor who was then elected to North Herts Council at that time through the management information bulletin that we get on a weekly basis. So that isn't true to say that information wasn't out there. But apologies if I got you, I've misunderstood what you said. But I think it's just worth clarifying that point, because those bulletins were put out for all members to see.
Thank you, Councillor Albert. Councillor Strong, I see that you've requested to speak. You can only speak once on an item, but do you wish to come back with a point of clarification?
Just to raise a point of comment or order. I think comment or order, Councillor Albert made the point that all members had that information in an MIS note. I think if you actually go back and read that particular MIS note, you will know that the actual location was not identified. And I know that I didn't pick it up, that was the particular place. So it wasn't, the full information was not available to us all. And also on the comment that you made about Councillor Levitt being consulted, the chair of scrutiny was consulted in order that to allow a decision to be made. Nothing about the content of that decision or the information that was in that decision that was being made by the leader of the council and the managing director of the council. So just those points of clarification.
Thank you, Councillor Strong, for your points of clarification. I'll continue with the debate and then come back to Councillor Levitt, who's also indicated he wishes to speak. So Councillor Munzer.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just want to say that the report and indeed the supporting documents don't actually say an awful lot. And I think that an awful lot of the detail has actually been left out. So I do agree with my colleague, Councillor Strong, that the decision and indeed the mechanism which has been taken by this authority needs to be reviewed by the Scrutiny Committee. And I think that once that report has been delivered back, that the authority does need to, as Councillor Dennis Harburg says, learned the lessons.
Thank you, Councillor Munster. Councillor Levitt, did you have a point of clarification?
I do. It's merely to point out that the chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee just has, the only reason they are consulted is to say that it meets the requirements of urgency. There is no comment on the actual report itself or invite to comment on the report itself. It is purely to say that the report, that the reason for taking the urgency decision is it meets those requirements of urgency. And there is no comment or implication as to whether that I agree or not with what the contents of that report are.
Thank you, Councillor Levitt, for that point of clarification. Councillor Collins.
Thank you, Chair. As one of the councillors representing the affected ward here, I think this isn't the forum to discuss the specifics of these particular applications. I think what we need to be addressing is the comments made by Councillor Dennis Harburg, the leader of the council, which I think really should be commended. They're very excellent comments and I fully support everything she said. So I think it's really great to hear that, and hopefully we can move forward positively with community engagement, exactly as she suggested. So this process really should be commended, and we should probably stick to that rather than talking about the specifics of this application, because there's a meeting coming up specifically for that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Collins. Does anyone else wish to speak? I'm seeing no hands raised. Councillor Brown, you reserved your right to speak. Would you like to speak? No, that's a no. And Councillor Dennis Harburg, you have your right to reply as well.
As I said at the start, I think that we've successfully noted the recommendation, which is to note the report. So I'm happy to move to the vote, Chair.
Okay, so in that case, we will move to the vote. So Will, could you take us through the vote, please?
Thank you, Chair. That motion's carried.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to agenda item 12, schedule of council meetings 2022 to 2023. Before I invite the leader to present regarding the calendar of meeting attached at Appendix A, for members' information, the Planning Control Committee on the 9th of June has been cancelled due to lack of business. Can I invite the leader of the council to move the approval of the programme of ordinary meetings for the council for the civic year 2022 to 2023? May I also note prior speaking that there has been a slight typo within the recommendations, and the 30th of March 2023 is actually a Thursday, not a Wednesday. So Councillor Dennis Harburg.
Yes, Chair, thank you. And thank you for correcting the typo, which we were just about to point out as well. I don't think I need to say very much on this. There's a calendar of ordinary meetings we look at and preempt this every February. And I think this can move forward and be approved by members this evening, Chair.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brown.
Happy to second that proposal.
Thank you. And we will move on to debate. Councillor Strong, would you like to speak on this?
Yes, I would just like to comment that there is another additional full council meeting scheduled, I believe, for December. It might not be an ordinary council meeting, but I do feel that perhaps it should go onto the calendar event so all members are aware.
Thank you, Councillor Strong. I'll just clarify.
Chair, that's a special meeting that we have been consulting group leaders on through the project board to do with the electoral arrangements, which members will be informed of in due course of that one, of the date of that one.
So thank you for your point, Councillor Strong.
I thought we could have done it tonight.
Yeah, thank you for your point, Councillor Strong. This is regarding the ordinary meetings, and as Melanie Simpson has said, we will be informed in due course of that meeting. Is there any further debate on this item? No, then let us move to the debate of the vote of the recommendations as they are set out in the report. William.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Chair. That motion's carried.
Thank you very much. Moving rapidly on to agenda item 13, nomination of representatives on outside organisations and other bodies for 2022 to 2023. For this item, I will call upon the leader to propose nominations of representatives on outside bodies where there is no contest. We will then take contested nominations one by one. So can I please invite the leader of the council to propose the nomination of representatives on outside bodies, organisations and outside bodies for 2022 to 2023, except for Bulldog Community Forum CIC, Bulldog Youth and Community Association, Hertfordshire Health Scrutiny Committee, King George V Playing Fields User Group, Letchworth Civic Trust, Letchworth Garden City Heritage Foundation, Letchworth Sustainability Forum, London Luton Airport Consultative Committee, Parking and Traffic Regulations Outside London Adjudication Joint Committee, and Royston Community Association. Councillor Dennis Harburg, will you please present? Councillor.
Before we go to the vote on those, could I just make some amendments, please? So first of all, I would like to remove Councillor Phil Weeder from the Letchworth Civic Trust and the Sustainability Forum. And that means that one of those won't need a vote.
Noted.
And secondly, I would like to change our nomination for the Parking and Traffic Regulations Outside the London Patrol from Councillor Sam Collins to myself, Councillor Ruth Brown. Thank you.
Okay, we will get to the Parking and Traffic Regulations Outside London Adjudication Joint Committee when we get to the second part of this, but that is noted for the Letchworth Civic Trust, so that is included in this. So Councillor Dennis Harburg, can I call you to speak on this, please?
Thank you very much, Chair. I don't think that there's much to say on the uncontested places other than I'm happy to propose those nominations.
Thank you very much. And can I have a seconder?
I'm happy to second the uncontested nominations.
Thank you very much. So on the uncontested nominations, is there any debate? Councillor Strong.
I'd just like to note, or perhaps that the Hertfordshire Building Preservation Trust, which our nomination is Councillor Jean Green, and it actually has in the party Lib Dem, and I'd just like that to be corrected to Conservative. Thank you.
I'm sure that can be arranged unless Councillor Green has any issues with that. No. Okay, so in that case, what we'll do is we'll move to the vote on the first part of this agenda item. So if there is no further debate, we will take those, the uncontested outside organisations and other bodies on block. So William, could you take us to the vote just for those, please? James.
Thank you, Chair. That motion's carried.
Thank you very much. We will now take each contested nomination in turn. So I will hand over to the Democratic Services Manager to firstly consider the Bulldog Community Forum CIC.
Thank you, Chair. So there are two nominations for the one representative on this. So when indicated, please use your yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Michael Weeks becoming the council's representative, following which you will be invited to use your yes button on the microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Willoughby becoming the council's representative. You must select a yes vote once. Do not use any other buttons. We will now move to the vote. Please use your yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Michael Weeks becoming the council's representative on the Bulldog Community Forum Community Interest Company. Okay, so now please use your yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Willoughby becoming the council's representative on the Bulldog Community Forum Community Interest Company.
Thank you. And with 27 votes to 19, Councillor Alistair Willoughby is duly appointed.
Thank you very much. We will next consider the Bulldog Youth and Community Association.
So for this one, there are 4 nominations for 3 representatives on this. So when indicated to vote, please use your yes button to indicate a vote in favour of Michael Muir, following which we ask to use your yes button to vote in favour of Councillor Cowell, and then the same process for Councillor Weeks and Councillor Willoughby in turn. You may vote yes 3 times. Do not use any other buttons. We will now move to the vote. So please use your yes button on your unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Muir becoming the council's representative on this organisation. So now please use your yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Cowell becoming the council's representative of this organisation. Now please use your unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Weeks becoming the council's representative of this organisation. And finally, please use your yes button on the unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Willoughby becoming the council's representative of this organisation.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, Mel. The 3 members with the highest number of votes are Councillors Joanne Cowell, Michael Weeks and Alistair Willoughby, and they are duly appointed.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the Hertfordshire Health Scrutiny Committee.
So there are 2 nominations proposed for the 1 representative of this. The nominees being Councillor Bryant and Councillor Green. So you may vote only once. So please use your unit to vote in favour of Councillor Bryant becoming the council's representative of this committee. And now please use your yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Green becoming the council representative of this committee.
And with a vote of 28 to 17, Councillor Val Bryant is duly appointed.
Thank you very much. Moving at a gallop on to the King George V Playing Fields User Group.
To intervene briefly.
You may, Councillor.
I mean, this committee is zero cost to the council. And I think actually there is a value in it being, cross party. So is there any particular reason why we couldn't agree all 4 representatives? I think there would be a value to that, and I would certainly welcome that. And I can't see any particular reason why that wouldn't happen. I certainly appreciated in the past Councillor Harwood's role on the committee, and I think that would be good to have all 4 people there as part of that user group.
Thank you very much, Councillor Albert. I have sought advice, and I believe what we shall do today is there is a requirement to check the terms of reference of that organisation. So what we will do is we'll continue the way that we have been doing it so far today. In the event that the terms of reference allow 4 members from North Hertfordshire Council, we will then take a decision at a later date whether to admit whoever is not successful. Thank you. Councillor Thake, you had a point.
Yeah, yes, Chairman. Prior to Councillor Harwood, I was the representative on that and worked there for many years. I'm absolutely content with Ian Albert's suggestion. If that can be arranged, that would be very pleasing, because I think it's an organisation which deserves the support across party. It's not a political organisation. I would happily want to continue to contribute to it and its success. And I would think if we can work that would be a very satisfactory solution to a difficult problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Thake, and I'm sure your words will be noted when we consider the terms of reference. We will still have to go through the voting process tonight, though. So, Melanie, could you please take us through that?
So on the basis, as we understand it, there are 4 nominations proposed for the 3 positions that we've got at the moment.
Sorry, I mean, could we just leave this on the table for the seat and then come back at the next meeting? I wouldn't want to vote someone down unnecessarily, and when we're trying to keep them on. It just feels like that if we could leave this on the table and come back, or even if you could delegate it to the Hitching Committee for that matter, because it's all here, that either way, that would seem to me an acceptable solution.
We can delegate it. Yes, I am happy that can be the case. So what we will therefore do, I wouldn't usually overrule my ruling, but on this occasion, I accept the rationale and the reasoning that you put forward. So what we will do is we will delegate the decision currently to Melanie Stimpson. In the event that those we can have 4 nominations on that playing fields user group, then that will be the decision taken by Melanie Stinson. In the event that we cannot, due to the terms of reference, we will bring this back to the next council meeting to ensure that we do have representation as soon as reasonably practicable. Thank you very much for that point of order. I think that's a very sensible way forward. So we will therefore move on to the Letchworth Civic Trust. Councillor Derbyshire, I understand you have a point you wish to raise.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I was under the impression that the Letchworth Civic Trust had 2 representatives from this council.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Councillor Derbyshire, I believe you are correct in saying that. However, my understanding is there are still 3 nominations.
I believe Councillor Weeder had his name withdrawn by Councillor Brown.
Yep, I apologise. You are correct. So we don't need to go through that one as well. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Derbyshire. So, Councillor Brown, did you want to?
Yes, please. So I withdrew Councillor Weeder on the basis that there was only one space available. So if there are 2 spaces, then I think I would like to put him back on.
It was already included in the previous vote effectively because you withdrew that, you voted on that issue as part of the original item.
Accept that.
Yes.
On the basis of wrong information.
Councillor Allen, did you have something to say?
Just that when that vote was put on, it was actually incorrect because that was on the previous one where it was the uncontested, where it was mentioned, not on this one. So I think technically we could put Councillor Weeder back up for this because it was put on an incorrect vote on the previous voting.
You have taken a vote, so you've already voted on the item.
Even though it's in the wrong thing.
Oh. Sorry.
Councillor Collins, point of order.
We voted on the paperwork in front of us. The paperwork in front of us appears to be incorrect. So that vote to withdraw somebody essentially is invalid. So if we are voting subject to the vote we took earlier, which is the paperwork in front of us, we're only voting for a single nomination, but there are 2 slots, which means we would then later on have to take a second vote on the other nomination. So there is still an empty space there. So we either vote on it now or we have to do it later, but I don't quite understand how we're supposed to work around that because what we voted on was a single position, not 2 positions.
So I could turn around and say that. We do have 2 more points that wanted to be raised. So Councillor Compton, do you wish to raise a point on this?
Thank you, Chair. My only point was it doesn't really matter what the reason for someone being withdrawn is. There was a request to withdraw a name and therefore it's become uncontested, maybe, but it doesn't really matter what the reasoning was there. I think surely it should be two people going through unopposed as we voted on. That was my only point.
Councillor Dennis Harburg.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just on a basic point of order, I think members of this council are often ably assisted by our officers, and we are led by the assistance and the information those officers present to us. Now, in this report, members of this council are told that there is only 1 seat available on the Letchworth Civic Trust. Therefore, that ineffective assistance from the officers in respect of this particular item caused the deputy leader of this council and leader of the Liberal Democrat group to withdraw her nomination in order to comply with the friendly arrangement that this joint administration has. And I would respectfully submit that where there is ineffective assistance of this type, which has led to a flawed decision, that should be re-examined and therefore the nomination should be allowed to stand.
Thank you. There are a number of other requests to speak. If there is not anything materially different to what has already been said, then please lower your hand. Councillor Willoughby.
As I understand it, we voted on the basis that it would be uncontested, but because there were still 2 nominations, it was never uncontested, and therefore we couldn't possibly vote on it based on the paperwork in front of us. So it's always been contested based on that.
Councillor Muir.
I'm a member of the Lechworth Civic Trust, appointed by the county council, and to my knowledge, I've been on the Letchworth Civic Trust for 3 years, and there's only 1 appointee from North Herts District Council.
I'll take a final point from Councillor Bloxham and then I will rule on what we do.
Yes, thank you. I think a lot of the debate is around the paperwork. I think it's quite obvious from our side, well, probably -1 now, that there's always been 2 positions on that the particular thing. So I think I think the position is clear and we should stick with what we've agreed.
So thank you everyone for raising those points. I completely understand that the way in which this has resolved is that when we took the decision earlier, the reasoning why Councillor Brown withdrew Councillor Weeder's nomination was on the basis of the understanding that there was only one position which is listed within the documentation here. I therefore feel that the documentation was not accurate in terms of what we were voting on and what we were considering. I will therefore take the decision that we vote on whether we feel the previous decision was inaccurate, and we will go back to the Letchworth Civic Trust that actually it was contested, and that is my ruling. Thank you very much. Is the point of order on my ruling, or is the point of order on something separate?
My point of order is that we've had an instruction given by the monitoring officer to this council. I think it was very clear on what it was. I think everybody that has been around in this council for many years knew that the Letchworth Civic Trust had two members. Councillor Allen certainly would have been aware that last year that he was a nominee, as was Councillor Michael Rice. So therefore, I'm very sorry that the leader of the Liberal Democrats withdrew her nomination. But I don't think that we can go over a decision that we've made and where the monitoring office has given her advice to us.
Thank you very much, Councillor Strong. I have ruled on the decision. That is my ruling. So therefore, I wish to go to a vote to decide upon whether the vote that we took earlier on whether the Letchworth Civic Trust was a contested outside organisation or body. If you vote yes, if you believe that it was inaccurate to say that the Letchworth Civic Trust was contested. No, if you feel that the Letchworth Civic Trust was not contested. If that, could we just clarify that wording for the vote? So, we're going to vote. The vote is if you believe that the decision made earlier was inaccurate, that the Letchworth Civic Trust should have been was included in the non-contested side of things, vote yes. If you believe that the Letchworth Civic Trust was not a contested organisation, vote no.
What I'm doing.
So if you believe,
are you saying that if I vote yes, it would be for Councillor Weeder's name to be reinstated with our current information?
It would. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So we'll go to the vote, please, on that.
Thank you, Chair. That motion is carried.
Thank you, Councillor Levitt. Point of order.
There was no seconder for that proposal.
And therefore, it's invalid.
And when he's a chairman, he doesn't have to get a second.
Oh, he does.
I'm the chair. Okay. So what happens now? Okay. So we're going to have to do that again then, I'm afraid. Thank you very much, Councillor Levitt. So I will propose, do I have a seconder? I'm afraid I'm not going to take that at this moment. I'm going to ask for a seconder and then I will. Okay. Councillor Levitt, go ahead.
Point of order, Chairman. This council made a decision, made a vote. That vote was valid. Under the terms of the Constitution, this council may not revisit that vote within a period of 6 months. I seek the monitoring officer advice on that, but I believe I am correct.
proposal by the chair was whether the information was accurate enough on which to base the decision. So yes, technically in relation to voting on a matter, 6-month rule apply, but I believe that the proposal that was put forward is slightly different from that.
So we will therefore run the vote again. So I will propose as suggested. Councillor Dennis Harbour, do you have a point of order? Okay, so
I don't
do you
have
want
any
to second?
points of order. I
You
very
wish to
rarely
second?
raise them, but I do wish to second, Sam.
Perfect. Okay, we have a proposer, we have a seconder. So we will please run through the vote again.
Thank you, Chair. That's carried.
Thank you very much. We will therefore come back to the agenda and move on to the Letchworth Civic Trust on the understanding that there are 2 representatives for this body. So Melanie, can we please go through the vote on this?
So we have 2 representatives on this with 3 nominations put forward, those being councillors Allen, Weeder and Derbyshire. So when you're asked to vote, please vote with your yes button for councillor Allen, councillor Weeder or councillor Derbyshire. So we will now go to the vote. Please use your yes button on your micro unit to indicate a vote in favour of councillor Allen becoming the council's representative of this trust. Now, please use your yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of councillor Weeder becoming the council's representative. And finally, you please use your yes button on your unit to indicate a vote in favour of councillor Derbyshire becoming the council's representative.
Okay, and with 28 votes and 26, councillors Daniel Allen and Phil Weeder are duly elected.
Councillor Billings, point of order.
Point of order, which you shouldn't accept, but you're going to because you've accepted all the others. And it's just really for the benefit of new councillors to say it's not all right just to bellow out point of order and insist that that means that you're allowed to be heard. You are actually meant to say to which point of the Constitution you're referring, not just use it as a bellowing out phrase that gives you right to speak at any point. And I think it'd be really handy if we kind of got used to being able to explain the constitutional basis of the point of order that we're raising, just to make it a bit tidier rather than people just bellowing at you all year.
Thank you very much, Councillor Billing. We will continue with that methodology. To Letchworth Garden City Heritage Foundation.
There are 2 nominations proposed for this one position. The nominees are councillors Bloxham and Mantle. You may vote only once, so please use your yes button on your microphone unit to indicate a vote for councillor Bloxham becoming the council's representative, please. And now please use your yes button on your unit to indicate a vote in favour of councillor Mantle becoming the council's representative on this organisation.
With 28 votes to 17, Councillor Ian Mantell is duly elected.
Thank you very much. Letchworth Sustainability Forum.
Chair,
don't need
we
to do that.
don't have to do that one because Councillor Reader was removed from this, so there's no need to vote on this one.
Okay, we'll move on to the London Luton Airport Consultative Committee.
So there are 2 nominations proposed for the one position. The nominees being Councillors Muir and Collins, and for this you may vote only once. Please use your yes button on your unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Muir becoming the council representative, please now. And now please use the yes button on your unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Collins becoming the council's representative, please now.
With 27 to 17, Councillor Sam Collins is duly appointed.
Thank you very much. We'll now consider the Parking and Traffic Regulations Outside London Adjudication Joint Committee.
There are 2 nominations proposed for this, the nominees being Councillor Strong and Councillor Brown. You may vote only once. So please use your microphone unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Strong becoming the council's representative. And now please use the yes button on your unit to indicate a vote in favour of Councillor Ruth Brown becoming the council's representative.
With 28 votes to 16, Councillor Ruth Brown is duly appointed.
Thank you very much. And finally, on this agenda item, the Royston Community Association.
So we have 3 positions available and 4 nominees. For this, you may vote 3 times.
Councillor Morris.
Can I withdraw my nomination for that position, please? Can I do that?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
If that's your choice, Councillor Morris, then I'm happy to accept that decision. So in that case, in that case, Royston Community Association is no longer a contested body. And we can move on to the next item, which is to say thank you very much. The time is now 8:58 and I draw this meeting to a close.